Obama only has a couple of weeks left in the White House, and he's making one last-ditch effort to save his namesake health care bill. Meeting with congressional Democrats next week, many of whom have already been working to keep President-elect Trump from trying to dismantle it once he takes office on January 20. Joining me now is Heat Street political director Jillian Melchior, GOP strategist John Burnett, and political analyst Gina Loud. Okay, Jillian. What could Obama possibly do, working with Democrats in Congress, to keep this thing alive?
Well, I think he's really pushing to, but that's going to be a tough thing to do.
But how?
You know, I don't have an answer on that. I'll be really interested to follow the details. I think Republicans' biggest political risk on this is they can repeal it within the first 100 days, but it matters what comes next, and it matters how quickly that's enacted. So if they repeal it in the first 100 days, but then it takes months or years for that fix to kick in, they're going to lose that political momentum. And I would expect Democrats to pay some attention to that.
John, there's no question that President Obama has put up some roadblocks, and that's what he's intent on doing. And the people in Congress, the Democrats in Congress are very clever about constructing and fortifying these roadblocks. But Mitch McConnell, the head of the Senate, he's been around for a while. Paul Ryan, some people would say, well, he's been fooled on budget issues before. But isn't it possible that they would be aware of a tricky thing to try to stop them from dismantling Obamacare before it happens?
Look, this latest move by the president can be summed up as a lame duck 2-minute drill with no time on the clock, and the fans left the stadium on November 8th. So this is just another trick, another ploy by the president to try to influence beyond his term. By
the way, do you know what that ploy is going to be? I mean, is it going to be several different measures or what?
Well, I think, you know, to Jillian's point, I think that the Republicans need to make sure if they do repeal it, have a reasonable grace period, which can be strategically used to put pressure on the Democrats to come to a bipartisan agreement on as to what the replacement will be. So they can't filibuster, no green eggs and ham or anything of that nature. Right. They have to get it done.
Well, Gina, I'll tell you one thing they're going to do. They're going to use their friends in the media to come out with all these horror stories. Of course, this might have to wait until it actually begins to dismantle, but horror stories about how sick children are going to lose their coverage, about how people with longstanding conditions are going to be dying on the street. I mean, we saw this before. Remember when welfare, ironically, was being done under a Democrat, but when welfare was being changed in the late 90s under Bill Clinton, working with the Republican Congress, we saw the same kind of reports. We're going to see that en masse, I think, in the next year. Are we not?
You're absolutely right. And, you know, they're still in campaign mode, which is just fascinating from a psychological standpoint. But here's the thing. We have to realize this is a marketing strategy meeting. That's what this meeting is all about, because Obama is very used to, and the Democrats are used to, being able to come out and call Republicans every name in the book, jump on people like Lindsey Graham and John McCain, who are used to the way the establishment functions, and, you know, call him a racist, call him a homophobe, call him anti-child, as you mentioned, and get away with it. I don't know if it's going to work, and here's why. I think most of us who have experienced Obamacare to the degree that we have, and just even looking at our general medicine right now, it's a mess. You feel like cattle in a cattle call. Nobody likes the way things are. People want to take it back to the state and a more private system.
People want to take it back to themselves, Jillian. People want individual control over their health care. They want to be able to choose their doctor, their health care plan, get the best deal they can for the best procedure, et cetera.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's something that Paul Ryan's really focused on and hammered in, that we're going to be increasing choice and availability. You know, I think the point that he can win with is young people right now. If you look in Arizona, somebody who's 27 years old buying healthcare on the exchanges, they're paying more than $400 for their coverage. They're going to opt out of that. It's an easy pitch to them. It's something that can immediately change their life, and I think they should make that play.
And John, the good thing about the attempt, which I'm sure is going to be made by the media, to support President Obama and Obamacare, even as it's being dismantled, it didn't work with welfare reform. That people knew specifically that welfare was not working. It was creating a sense of dependency on the part of people who were receiving it. We were having more people on welfare, not less. Welfare reform made it. It made it with the Democratic president. It made it with Congress. I think the dismantling of Obamacare is going to make it as well.
Well, Americans may not know the law, but they do know math. And the premiums have skyrocketed. And this administration is making it about politics. The American people and the Republicans want to make it about math. The premiums need to be reduced, and we need to actually afford more options for Americans that's seeking health care. We've seen situations this year where some states are left with one provider. That increases premiums.
Yes.
No, the less competition you have, the worse service and the higher the prices.
And with
That's
Trump's
how it works.
administration,
Gina, I'm going to have to
And
give you
David-
first. Go ahead quickly. We run out of time, but go ahead.
Yeah, David, you mentioned media, and that's true. He will use that, but look for him also to use judges and bureaucrats that he's
That's true.
carefully
It's the
appointed for all of
judiciary.
these years to try and do this.
Don't forget
Yeah.
the judiciary. They will be used. Thank you, gang. Appreciate it. Coming up, major